For MGF 1107 Liberal Arts. The first topic we're going to take on here is the mathematics of voting. This will consist of 3 different videos containing information about the mathematics of voting. First of all, in terms of voting, you need to understand the basic elements of an election. First of all, there are the candidates, who are the individuals who are running, and that can result as many as few as 1 and as many as 10. Then you have the voters. They're the ones who elect the final winner. And then you have ballots. There are 3 kinds of ballots. There's a single ballot, in which no matter how many names are on the ballot, you only vote for 1. There's a preference ballot, and in a preference ballot, that's where you rank the candidates from your most favorable to your least favorable. And then you have a truncated ballot, in which there are multiple candidates, but the voters are only asked to rank 3, 4, but not all of the candidates in the voting. Outcome is the 4th part to an election. In terms of this, when we start looking at outcomes, we can have where there's the one with the most votes wins only. We can have where we have partial rankings, and then we can have full rankings. If you look at this example here, letter A here is the example of a winner only. In terms of this, you only choose 1 candidate, that's it. In the letter B, that is a partial ranking, where you are ranking the individuals from 1st to 5th. And in this one, in the last 2, these are different types of full rankings. And so as a consequence in here, these are the different types of ballots that you have here. Remember, letter B is a preference ballot, and then letter C is a different kind of preference ballot, and letter D is a truncated preference ballot because there are more candidates, but you're only listed in your top 3. The 5th part to an election are voting methods. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover 2 voting methods in this video, then pick up the rest in a second video, and then we'll talk about the Electoral College and the voting method we have in the U.S. First voting method that we come to is the plurality method. And then the plurality method, this is the most common type of voting that we know of. There are 2 parts to it. First, each voter has 1 and only 1 vote. The candidate with the most votes wins. Now, there are some problems with the plurality method, because in the plurality method, say you have 4 or 5 candidates, and say none of the candidates get the majority of the votes. And what that means is that a candidate could get elected with less than a majority of the people voting for him. As an example of this, let's look at this problem. This problem says, like many states, Maine chooses its governor using the plurality method. In the 2010 election, there were 5 candidates, and I'm not going to read the names. And Table 1.4 shows the results of the election before reading on. Take a close look at the numbers on the table 1.4 and draw your own conclusion. Well, the conclusion is that definitely Paul LePage won because he had the most votes. But if you look at the percentages, he was only not even 2% ahead of Elliott Cutler and did not have 50% of the vote. So he's getting elected governor of Maine with less than 50% of the people of Maine wanting him. one thing I want to make reference to is this, and it says, while all voting methods can be manipulated by insincere voters, the plurality method is the one that can be most easily manipulated. And insincere voting is quite common in the real-world elections. For Americans, the most significant cases of insincere voting occur in close presidential or governor races between the two major party candidates. And a third candidate who comes into the race acts as a spoiler and has little or no chance of winning, but he takes votes away from one of the two major candidates. Then we come to our second method, which is called the board account method. And in the board account method, voters rank candidates from most favorable to least favorable. Each last place vote is awarded a 1 point, and then the second to last would be 2, and the third to last 3, so on and so forth till we get to first place. Then you add up the total of the points, and that gives you your winner. An example of this is this example problem here. It says, let's re-examine the San Francisco Zoo election for a new logo as discussed in example 1 on page 855. This is in your textbook. For convenience, the preference table is reproduced in table 14.4. Recall that T represents tiger, K represents kangaroo, and G represents giraffe. Which animal is selected using the board account method? Well, if we look at the board account method, basically what happens here is, here's what's happened. Notice that the vertical column here is for first, second, third place votes. These are all the possible combinations that can happen with 3. Remember, we have a tiger, a kangaroo, and a giraffe. So there were 2 voters who voted for tiger first, kangaroo second, giraffe third. There were 3 voters who voted for tiger first, giraffe second, kangaroo third. There were 5 voters that voted for giraffe first, tiger second, kangaroo third. There was 1 voter who voted for kangaroo first, giraffe second, tiger third. There were 3 voters who voted for kangaroo first, tiger second, giraffe third. And there was 1 voter who voted for giraffe first, kangaroo second, tiger third. So if we're going to use the board account method, then what happens is, for every third place vote, they get a 1. For every second place vote, they get a 2. For every first place vote, they get a 3. So if we look at the Tigers' amount of points, they had 2 first place votes. So if we look at this, based on the table, in terms of Tigers, the Tiger had 2 plus 3 first place votes. Right here and right here. 2 plus 3 is 5, times 3 is 15 points. Tiger had 5 second place votes. 8 second place votes. 5 and 3. So if we go 5 and 3 is 8 times 2, we get 16. And then the Tiger had 2 third place votes. 2 times 1 is 2. So 15, 16, 2 gives them 33 total points. If we go to the giraffe, notice the giraffe had 6 first place votes. So if we go 6 times 3, we get 18. The giraffe had 3 and 1, which is 4 second place votes. So if we go 4 times 2, we get 8. The giraffe had 5 third place votes. So we go 5 times 1 gives 5. We add those together, we get 31 points. We do the kangaroo. Kangaroo had 4 first place votes, had 3 second place votes, and had 7 third place votes. We do the math there, we get 26. We can see that the Tiger gets the most amount of points, so the Tiger is elected. This is the board account method.